Okay, so we are in the middle of this wild moment where AI is getting smarter, like incredibly fast. But here's the thing. With all that intelligence comes a huge challenge. How do we make sure these systems aren't just powerful, but are also safe, reliable, and, trustworthy? Let's get into it.
And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? This is what every AI developer is wrestling with right now. It's not enough to build an AI that can answer trivia. We need to build an AI that we can actually trust with important stuff, an AI that acts in our best interests and doesn't just make things up. So when you break it down, building trustworthy AI is really about solving two big problems at once. First, you've got the factual truths challenge, making sure what the AI says is accurate. And on the other side, you have the helpful behavior challenge, teaching it to be helpful, harmless, and aligned with what we actually want. They're two sides of the same coin, and today we're going to look at the key techniques for tackling both.
All right, first up, the truth problem. How do you stop an AI from just confidently hallucinating? Well, the answer lies in a really clever technique that basically gives the AI a library card and tells it, go check your sources before you speak.
And believe me, the stakes here are incredibly high. Just look at something like telecom fraud. Scammers are using AI to get way more sophisticated, and it's led to a jaw-dropping 28% jump in fraud since 2019. This is a real-world problem where an AI that gets things wrong can have devastating consequences for real people.
The solution here is a system called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or just RAG for short. The best way to think about it is like giving the AI an open book exam. Before it's allowed to answer your question, it has to first retrieve information from a trusted source, like a database of company policies. This totally grounds its answer in verifiable facts.
So what does this look like in the real world? Well, a recent paper laid out how a RAG system can spot fraud as it's happening. First, a phone call gets transcribed into text. The AI immediately figures out what company is involved. Let's say it's your bank. It then instantly pulls up that specific bank's security rules and starts checking the conversation against them live. And this is just a brilliant example of how powerful RAG is. Here, an agent claiming to be from Bank 2 asks for the last 6 digits of a credit card, but the RAG system has already retrieved that bank's official policy, which says employees can only ask for the last 4 digits. It's a tiny detail a person under pressure might totally miss, but the RAG system flags it as fraud in an instant. That's what having an AI fact-checker on the line can do.
And the numbers? Well, they speak for themselves. In one test, a standard large language model only caught about 66% of the fraud. A more specialized AI model did a little better, around 78%. But the RAG-based system, a stunning 98% accuracy. It's pretty clear proof that grounding an AI in facts is the absolute key to making it reliable. Okay, so RAG is fantastic for keeping an AI honest and factual. But what about its behavior? How do we teach it to be helpful, to be polite, to be, not a jerk? That brings us to the second piece of this puzzle, what I like to call the AI's behavior coach. I mean, just look at the night and day difference here. On the left, you've got a raw, untrained AI that just sort of rambles and spits out related facts. But on the right, after it's been coached, you get a direct, helpful, and concise answer. That amazing transformation is all thanks to a process called RLHF. So, what on earth is RLHF? It stands for Reinforcement Learning from Human Feedback, and it's basically a fancy way of saying we're fine-tuning an AI's personality. Think of it like hiring a giant team of human coaches to sit down with the AI and teach it, one response at a time, what we humans actually find helpful, harmless, and honest. This whole process really happens in 3 stages. First, the AI learns the basics, just how to follow instructions and answer questions. Then comes the really cool part. Humans are shown 2 different AI answers, and they just pick which one is better. All of that preference data is used to train a whole separate AI, a reward model, that basically becomes an AI judge of what humans like. And finally, that AI judge is used to automatically coach the main AI, rewarding it for good answers and penalizing it for bad ones over and over at a massive scale. And this isn't just some theory. It's happening all the time. Platforms like the chatbot arena are a perfect example. People go on there, they have 2 anonymous AIs answer a prompt, and they vote for the winner. Every single one of those votes is a tiny piece of data, a tiny lesson that helps coach these AI models to be better. So we've covered what these techniques are, which is great. But let's just take a quick peek under the hood at how it all actually works. How does a simple choice from a person get turned into a smarter, safer AI?
It really all comes down to this one simple action. A human gets a prompt and 2 different AI responses. All they do is pick one. A is better or B is better. That's it. But when you collect millions and millions of these simple binary choices, you create this incredibly rich data set that basically maps out the entire landscape of human preferences. But of course, there's a catch. It's something called Goodhart's Law. If you just tell an AI your only goal is to get the highest score, it will find ways to game the system. We call this over-optimization. For example, it might learn that longer answers get better scores and start writing these long, rambling essays that aren't actually helpful. Or it could get too cautious and just refuse to answer perfectly harmless questions. It's a constant balancing act.
This very challenge has actually led to a ton of innovation in the field. The early ways of doing RLHF were, let's just say, incredibly complex, as this meme so perfectly captures. So in response, researchers came up with simpler, more direct methods like direct preference optimization, or DPO. These new techniques have made the whole coaching process way more efficient and stable.
All right, so let's bring this all home. We've got one technique to keep an AI tied to the facts and another one to teach it how to behave. How do these two things come together to create an AI we can actually trust?
I think this is the absolute best way to think about it. RAG is the AI's fact checker. It provides the external, verifiable knowledge. RLHF, on the other hand, is the AI's behavior coach. It provides the internal wisdom on how to use all that knowledge in a way that's genuinely helpful and aligned with our values.
So the crucial takeaway here is this. RAG is absolutely essential to stop AI from just making stuff up. It grounds it in reality. And RLHF is just as essential for shaping its behavior, turning it from a raw intelligence into a useful assistant. You really need both, because knowledge without wisdom can be dangerous, and wisdom without knowledge is just empty. Together, they're the foundation for building AI that we can finally, truly trust.
We've made some incredible leaps in teaching AI what to know and how to act. But this journey is really just beginning, which leaves us with one last big question. As these systems get woven more and more into our daily lives, what's the next critical lesson that we need to teach them